So yesterday afternoon was about leading self. And we're talking about, like we did today, that the age of collaboration is to engage people. And the intention of this workshop was to get a better understanding of your self-leadership. So we started with a small check-in about what's alive in you today. And people were talking about that they were curious about how collaboration can work, and if how they're already working is in line with how they could do it and what they want to succeed with. And then we had a brief lecture or speech by Eva, who was talking about the social brain and self-leadership. And she went back to talking about how our brain have been structured since the Stone Age, since the beginning of humans. And we're always looking for interpreting what we see and what we encounter. And often that leads to something being dangerous and feeling threatened. And social threat is equally as dangerous to people and hurt as much as physical pain. It's the same thing in the brain that activates and makes us scared. And also when we feel these social threats, our EQ goes down, which makes it even harder to collaborate when we are in a really bad environment. So self-leadership is really about to take a step back and to observe what's happening and to observe yourself. And then you can choose which path you want to go to make a better decision and get out of the situation. And then there's certain qualities that's containing, that self-leadership is contained of. And there's status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And then they had like a quiet thinking session about different occasions when you have felt threatened, and what happened, how did this feel for you, and what did you do in this situation. And then you did an opposite thinking session where you could think about how you could do differently in another similar situation. And some of the tips that come up is that you should breathe, change your perspective, and listen to yourself and acknowledge what you're feeling. And then we had the first real workshop, and that was about talking to your neighbor about one story that you had concerning self-leadership when you felt you have succeeded with doing that. And the other person should mirror your qualities and events that you were talking about in the story. And we had two really nice stories. One about a situation where on the conference you were given a balloon and everyone was supposed to pop each other's balloons. And there was a gentleman over here who realized that you don't have to pop it just because someone tells you. So he was protecting his and didn't try to pop anyone else, but everyone else was doing that. And then he realized that I'm thinking differently, and that's a strength, and I can use it in my work and how I lead myself and others. And the other story was about someone who was very concerned about people being very divided in society. So he or she was stopped and thought about which skills she and he had, and then contacted a politician and offered to help in a campaign that would minimize racism in our society. And then we had like the last workshop where we started out with ideate about, the workshop was a lab about self-awareness and self-leadership. And we had an ideate about what you think about leadership, tools, ideas, models that you are aware of that you could tip each other about. And then you went into a group of 3, and then you generated a lot of ideas that come up to key insights about self-leadership. And it was about that self-leadership can be an ecosystem. It grows and it learns, and it's depending on the context you're in. And there was also another group that's talking about this, that the context is always affecting you as a person. So you have to be aware of yourself in the context and how other people feel about you. And that we should have more social inclusion and raise differences, that we like them and we're aware that they are there. Change perspectives. Love bombing is never wrong. Be an active listener. Meditation, breathing. And also, if you have a feedback culture, then you need to be self-aware and mirror yourself to understand what people are talking about. Yeah, so that was yesterday. And now we're going into today.